The Individuals with Disabilities Act, IDEA, requires each state to develop a State Performance Plan Annual Performance Report, or an SPP APR, that evaluates the state's efforts to implement the requirements and purposes of the IDEA and describes how the state will improve its special education implementation. The SPP APRs include indicators that measure child and family outcomes and other indicators that measure compliance with the requirements of IDEA. The indicators in Part B of the IDEA fall into three monitoring priority areas. 1. The provision of a free and appropriate public education, or FAPE, in the least restrictive environment. 2. The state exercise of general supervision, including child find, effective monitoring, the use of resolution meetings, mediation, and a system of transition services. And 3. Disproportionate representation of racial and ethnic groups in special education and related services, to the extent the representation is the result of inappropriate identification. The South Carolina Office of Special Education Services must set targets on the indicators that involve student performance. We have a series of recorded presentations in order to get stakeholder feedback on the proposed targets. Indicator 6 measures the percent of children with individualized education programs, or IEPs, in the ages of from 3 through 5, but not yet kindergarten, attending a regular early childhood program and receiving the majority of special education and related services in the regular early childhood program or a special education class, separate school or residential facility. 5-year-olds who are in kindergarten are not included in this count. Here on this slide, you can see historically both the target and the actual percentage. We use the historical data to help us make decisions about the new proposed targets. Preschool Least Restrictive Environment, or LRE, is Part A. Part A includes children with IEPs ages 3 through 5, not yet kindergarten, attending a regular early childhood program and receiving the majority of special education and related services in the regular early childhood program. The solid blue line represents the actual data from previous years, and the dotted blue line shows the trend of the data and projects it out through the new SPP. Preschool LRE, or Least Restrictive Environment, Part B includes children with IEPs ages 3 through 5, not yet kindergarten, receiving the majority of special education and related services in a separate special education class or separate school or residential facility. The solid blue line represents the actual data from previous years, and the dotted blue line shows the trend of the data and projects it out through the new SPP. On this slide, you can see the proposed targets for the new SPP. If you look back at the old data and trends, these targets are in line and they are attainable. Indicator 6 measures the percent of children with IEPs ages 3 through 5, not yet kindergarten, attending a regular early childhood program and receiving the majority of special education and related services in the regular early childhood program, 6A, or a separate special education class, separate school, or residential facility, 6B. 5-year-olds in kindergarten are not included in this count. New to the SPP APR package is Indicator 6C. While we've always collected this data, it's a new requirement that we submit with targets to the federal government. Historically, the number of preschool-aged children receiving special education services at home has been about 1%, with the exception of the 2020 data, which has increased likely because of the pandemic. The least restrictive environment for preschool-aged children is considered where a child would be if they did not have a disability, and some young children would be at home. Indicator 6C is different than homebound services in older grades. Because this is a new component to the SPP APR reporting, there are no historical targets to report, so we will rely on stakeholder input to set targets for the next 5 years for Indicator 6C. A variety of stakeholder input, including parents, teachers, district leadership, is needed to set targets for 6C that reflect the needs of South Carolinians to improve Indicator 6C. To increase this target means that you think the Office of Special Education Services should support district leadership in building infrastructure to offer more itinerant special education service delivery to include home as a placement for young children. To decrease means that you believe young children with disabilities, including 3-year-olds, need more access to classroom experiences, and only a few, if any, children should receive special education services at home. This is the proposed goal for the Early Childhood Focus Group within the Office of Special Education Services. In order to achieve the proposed goal, the Early Childhood Focus Group at the Office of Special Education Services plans to create professional development activities. These types of activities may include trainings, webinars, and virtual courses for our early childhood workforce. We will continue the collaborative efforts with our technical assistance partners to support the achievement of our goal. We have several partners, like the South Carolina Partnership for Inclusion, or affectionately known as SCIPPY, that will support our districts with technical assistance. Our intention was to provide you with information about the State Performance Plan and the newly proposed targets for Indicator 6, and how our established goal and activities will provide consistent, collaborative, proactive direction and support focused in the area of early childhood outcomes, so that students can meet the profile of the South Carolina graduate with world-class knowledge, world-class skills, and life and career characteristics. We hope this information will enable you to have a richer understanding of our plan. We look forward to your feedback. Thank you.